YouTube was good. Happy Friday. We are in here early this morning packing up a bunch of orders. We got roughly 20 orders, so let's see some of what's shipping. First off, we have this Nike SB. This pair is heading to GOAT. This is the When Pigs Fly. Very rare sneaker to come across nowadays. Obviously, it wasn't worth much back in the day. I got about a little over $4.50 for these, so I'm definitely happy about the outcome. They might keep going up. I don't really mind it, man. It is what it is. You gotta keep it going. That's what's first on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have two GOAT orders. Here we have the Air Jordan 3 88 Classic. This is size 8, no box. I've had these for so long now. Since the old location, no one really wanted to pay the $300 I wanted for them. Finally, I accepted a GOAT offer of about $275. Here we have the Air Jordan 3 Tinker. I'm really not a big fan of the Tinker with the swoosh on the 3. Not really my thing. This is a new with no box, size 13. These are heading to GOAT for about $225, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have an Ahmad Green Authentic. This has seen better days. It's a size 56. Either way, it's heading to Cali for about $25 plus shipping. That's what's next on what's shipping. Next up, we have a classic piece that I actually bought for myself originally. This is the 1996 All-Star Edition Scottie Pippen Swingman Mitchell & Ness Authentic jersey. The reason I got this for myself and I don't need it now is I got the Michael Jordan Authentic, so someone can have this Swingman. This is heading to Virginia for about $130 shipped. Definitely happy. I believe I caught this on sale at Against All Odds for like $70, so can't complain. Really nice piece though. And that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up, heading to New York, we got this very nice old school VC Vince Sanity Vince Carter Reebok Authentic size 54. Pretty big guy. Still a nice piece. It's heading to Brooklyn for about $75 plus shipping, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up, heading to Texas, we got another Reebok Authentic Edwin James. This is a size 56 as well. This jersey has seen better days as well. This one sold for like $30 plus shipping. It is what it is. Just trying to move this stuff, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up, we got somewhat of a rare one. This is the Horsepower Detroit Pistons, but this is the Jerry Stackhouse replica jersey. Very nice piece. This is heading to Michigan. And that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up, we got these women's Air Max 270s. Not really much to say about these. This is a women's size 10. Sold them for about 70 shipped or so. And that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have another pair that I've had for quite some time now. This is the 990 Breast Cancer Awareness Edition. Pretty cool pair. They sold for the low, like 50 plus shipping or 40 plus shipping. And that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up, heading to PA, is this size 7.5 volt Foamposite. Honestly, these like always sell for at least $100 if they're in pretty good condition. That's exactly what this pair sold for, 100 plus shipping. I probably could have waited it out, tried to get more. It is what it is. These are heading to PA, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a pair of Air Jordan 14s. This is a last shot edition. This is size 8. Very good condition. These sold for about $170 plus shipping. I believe these sold because of the Last Dance documentary. I'm not mad about it, man. It's helping business a lot. And that's what's next on what's shipping. Here we have a pair of Beater Air Jordan 8s. This is the Bugs Bunny edition. These are from 2013. They don't have insoles. They sold for less than $100 shipped, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we got this big box heading to Colorado. If you remember this box, if you remember this shoe, this is the Nike LeBron 10 Prism. This was a very popular colorway when they dropped. Very nice colorway if you ask me. These are heading to Colorado for about 100 plus shipping, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a pair of these Air Max Thea print joints. This pair is heading to Georgia for the low, about $38 plus shipping, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up, we have these Nike Dunk lows. These are women's. These are heading to Louisiana for like 30 plus shipping. Then we have these Yin Yang Air Jordan 1s. These I bought for the low. I cleaned them up. They didn't have laces. I put laces into them, and we got a little over $100 shipped. So definitely happy about that. And that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a jersey heading overseas. This is a Joe Horn, I believe. New Orleans Saints Reebok Authentic. It's funny, in this segment I've shipped out 3 Reebok Authentics to different buyers. All these jerseys I bought in one lot, so it's pretty cool to sell them all today, or at least 3 of them today, heading to new homes. So that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a very nice pair if you ask me. This is the Air Jordan 1 Gym Red. This is like a poor man's bread or black toe or whatever. Colorway is very clean, very black, red, white, regular Chicago Bulls. So I think a lot of people who can't get the breads, can't get the black toes, can't get the bread toes, are going to start buying these. They're only at like $200 roughly, brand new, $200 to $260 depending on size. So these will go up if you ask me. Very nice pair. These are heading out, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, I got this cool pair of Nike SBs. These are heading out. They sold this morning for about 100 plus shipping. Definitely happy about that outcome. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a beautiful Jason Kidd Authentic with the tag still on it. Back in the day, as you can see, it sold for 140 bucks back then. This piece is size 56. Really clean condition. They fake the New Jersey Nets jerseys a lot, like the ones that look like this, so the fakes look really good too, but this one is authentic. It's heading to New York for about 160 plus shipping. Happy about the outcome, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. We're getting down to the last shoe finally on What's Shipping, and then we can go enjoy our Friday or go eat a bunch of food and sit at home and whatever, since that's what I do in quarantine anyway. These are the Tinker Air Jordan 6s. These are used, sold for about 160 plus shipping. Definitely happy about the outcome. Hopefully there's no complaints. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got the ever so sought after, ever so classic. Well, not as sought after anymore since they came out again. Air Jordan 11 Concord. This is 2011 edition. These are heading to GOAT. They're pretty dogged out. I think they sold for about 150 or so, something like that. Pretty happy about the outcome, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got a jersey I almost forgot about. This is a Mitchell & Ness batting practice Tony Gwynn San Diego Padres jersey. This piece sold on Instagram. Sometimes when I sell stuff on Instagram, you forget, because obviously there's no like paid ship now thing like eBay and stuff like that. Anyway, this is actually heading to San Diego. Really nice piece, sold for about 40 shipped. And that's what's last on the day for What's Shipping. Got about roughly 15 orders to pack up today, so let's see what's shipping. First off on What's Shipping, we have a pair of the Nike Air Fear of God 1 Air Raids. This is the sale pair. This pair has jumped up quite a bit in price lately. This pair is pre-owned. It is heading to Florida for about $225 shipped, and that's what's first on the day for What's Shipping. Next up, heading to Washington, D.C., we have a pair of Air Jordan 12 Bordeaux. Talked about this sneaker before. Kind of looks a little like the fine wine. This pair right here is heading to Washington, D.C. for about $165 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got a pair of Air Jordan 1s. Here we have the Gym Red Air Jordan 1 High. This pair is pre-owned in a size 11. It sold for about $150 plus shipping. Again, I said it once, I said it before, this sneaker is going to keep going up, man. It's like a poor man's bread black toe mix, bread toe, whatever you want to call toe. Good shoe, nonetheless. Anyway, oh, another thing about this pair, before I forget, I had these listed for $135 plus shipping. They had like 25 watchers. No one would hit the buy it now button. So what did I do? I decided to change the price, drop the listing, by ending the listing, then relisting it at a higher price. What happened? They sold. So if you guys have like 10, 15, 20, 30 watchers on an item, try ending it and then relisting it. A lot of times people will regret not just buying it, and then all of a sudden they'll say, hey, now that it's back, I'll buy it. Anyway, these are next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair of Concord 11s, the 2011 edition. These are pretty smoked. They're heading to Utah. I don't really want to open the box now that I'm thinking about it. You know what these look like, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, I have a pair that I've actually had for a while now. I'm happy it sold. Here we have the Tiana Taylor Reebok Question sneaker. Pretty cool pair. It's just they're in women's sizes. So this is a women's 11.5. Sort of like a men's 10. These sold for about $125 plus shipping. They're heading to Texas. Definitely happy to get these out, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have this pair of Bapestas. These I've had like literally 5 to 10 people hit the buy it now button and never pay for some odd reason. Finally someone paid. These are heading to New Jersey, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this pair of Cook Daddy Concord Lows. They got like Roshi Run insoles in them. These are really smoked. They're heading to South Carolina for about $75 shipped, and that's what's next on What's. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair of Air Jordan 8 Bugs Bunnies. Again, The Last Dance episode 5 and 6 was last night, I believe, and a lot of these OG colorways, a lot of these Air Jordans, people want them. The prices are going up, so if you're looking for some, go grab it before it keeps going up. these are what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we got this cool pair of Jordan brand Olympic shorts. These are size medium. Cool little gold accent on the Jumpman right down here. These sold for about 35 or 40 shipped, and they're heading to Washington. And that is what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we got another pair of Jordan shorts. These are the Air Jordan 7 Citrus shorts. I don't know if you guys remember when the Citrus 7s dropped. Really cool pair. This sold for a little bit more than the other pairs. I think these sold for like 50 shipped, something like that. These are heading out to Minnesota, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a pair of Nike SBs. These are the Northern Light editions. Recently it was 420. The 420 new skunk dunk came out, limited to 420 pairs. Super rare, going for like 5,000 plus. So all of a sudden these sold on my eBay. Funny thing about these selling was someone messaged me and said, hey, can you do any better on the price? He said, look, I think they're priced pretty fairly. I had them at $350. They're like $425 on GOAT. And I said, you know, feel free to make an offer. The guy offered me, I believe, $280. And about 10 minutes later, someone clicked the buy it now button and bought these for $350. So again, if you want something, sometimes you gotta just bite the bullet before they're gone. This pair is heading to Illinois for about $350 plus shipping, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a very nice silhouette. The Reebok Shaq Attack. This is the Brick City edition, representing Newark, New Jersey, where Shaq was born and raised. This pair is heading to Ohio for about 80 to 100 shipped, something like that. Very happy about the outcome. And that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a pair heading to Jersey. This is the Air Jordan 1 Chameleon, aka All-Star, whatever you want to call them. These aren't in the best condition. I had them up for $175. A homie who saw them on Instagram hit me up. I said I could do $150 shipped, and I sent them out. Mind you, if I kept these up, they probably would have sold for $175 plus shipping. It's a pretty rare sneaker, even though they're worn out, and it had like 27 watchers. So either way, these are heading out to New Jersey, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we got this baby pair, size like 4 Gamma 12s. These are heading to Minnesota, I believe. Not really much to say about these. They're beat. They sold for like 40 bucks, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we got this pair of Air Max 95s. These sold on eBay for about 70 plus shipping. Definitely happy about the sale, just because I've had these for like over a year or so. So definitely happy about that. These are heading out to Washington, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we got the Air Jordan 5 Camo. Really, really ugly Air Jordan 5 if you ask me, but they usually sell for like $1 to $150 depending on condition. These are heading to Georgia for about $125 shipped, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we got the Pat Ewing gold logo Mitchell & Ness Authentic. This is size 44. It's heading to New York. Sold for about half of retail, or actually probably less than half of retail, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next on what's shipping, we got this pair of Orion 7s. I've had these on eBay for a long time for $100. We've had offers of 80, 90, 85, 75, 70, 60, yada yada yada. But the pair had like 30 watchers, so I just let them sit there, and finally they sold. This pair sold for 100 plus shipping and is heading out to Buffalo, New York, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Last up on this long episode or long segment of what's shipping, we have the Air Jordan 6 GMP Gold Medal Edition. Nice pair. These are in lightly used condition, size 11.5. These sold for a little over $100 shipped, and they're heading to Cali, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Everybody have a good week. Peace. YouTube, what's good? Today is Wednesday. We got a little over 10 orders to pack up. Let's see what's shipping. First off on what's shipping, we have a pair heading to GOAT. This is the Reebok Shaq Attack. This is actually a pretty rare colorway. I forget exactly what they are called. It's kind of like a what the. Pays homage to Christian Laettner, the Fab Five, Team USA, X on the back. Pretty cool sneaker. I actually ended up getting $190 for these via GOAT, which is cool because I had them on eBay for $175. And that's what's first on what's shipping. What's shipping, we have a pair heading to Cali. This is the Haystack Nike Air Foamposite 1. It has this suede haystack color. Pretty cool sneaker, I guess, if you like Timberland boots that look like Foamposites. Anyway, these are heading to Cali for about $150 shipped, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we got this cool fat leather Sun Devils Arizona jersey. This is actually going to Arizona to someone with the last name Lever, so whatever, maybe it's that guy, I'm not really sure. Don't really know much about this jersey, to be honest. It's a big guy, has some marks, only sold for like 30 bucks. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this beautiful Clyde the Glide Drexler Michelin-S jersey heading to Oklahoma. This is a size 60, so we only sold it for about 65 shipped. Really nice piece regardless. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this pair of off-white slides heading to Hawaii. Definitely happy about the sale just because I've had these for so long. These sold for about 100 plus shipping, which is probably a steal, but I don't really mind. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we had a pair that I had for a little bit on eBay, the Bread 11, size 11.5, lightly worn condition. I had these up for $260, and I was gonna raise the price or just wear them myself, but I decided to just leave them up there. Eventually they sold. These are heading to New Mexico for about $275 shipped. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a goat order. Please forgive me, I don't really remember what these are called. The F-Par, whatever. Nike SBs. These, I'm pretty much selling them for what I paid for them. I thought they'd go up in price, they really didn't. They're kind of staying stagnant around retail, 125, 130. So these sold on GOAT, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got the Kevin Martin Swingman jersey. This is a really cool piece, definitely hard to find. I don't know if you guys remember, Kevin Martin's shot was crazy. It was like that's how he shot the ball. Really good three-point shooter though, regardless. I wonder what he's doing right about now. Anyway, this is heading to California for about 65 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this beautiful Champion Authentic Scottie Pippen Chicago Bulls jersey. This piece is heading overseas for about 200 plus shipping. I've had it up for so long. Finally, the other day when The Last Dance aired, this sold. So hopefully it's going to a good home, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this pair of Comme des Garçons. These are a size 7. I think I paid $70 for these. I put them up on eBay for $130. They didn't sell. Finally, I switched the price to $100, and they sold. So little $30 profit. It is what it is. These are heading out, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got a pair heading to Puerto Rico. These are the Drake 4s. I don't know if you guys remember, they came out, they were going for a crazy amount of money. Then the Raptors won the championship, and the price like plummeted down, which doesn't even make sense to me. It makes me think like, if the Raptors lost the championship, but these have went up, I don't get it. Either way, these sold for about $250 plus shipping and heading to Puerto Rico, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this nice Reebok Authentic size 56 Antoine Jameson Warriors jersey. This is heading to New York. Sadly, I sold a similar piece, size 48, number 2, says Johnson on the back. I'm not really sure. I think it's a custom. I just can't find it, man. I really hate not being able to find jerseys and shoes and stuff that I sell. It's like really annoying, but anyway, this sold for about 65 shipped. It's heading to New York, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. On What's Shipping, we got this beautiful Nike Pro Line size 44 Wilbur Marshall jersey. This is a beautiful piece, man, if I was a Chicago Bears fan. This ended up selling for about 100 plus shipping. It's heading to Illinois. I had it up for 200 for a while. Didn't really get any offers. Finally, someone offered 100, so we'll take it. Glad this is going to a new home. And that's what's next on What's Shipping.